A level 2 character. Anything you want? Any classes you want?
I'm gonna play a warlock. Got a halfling rogue, right?
This is my form over here.
It can be whatever spot you want.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go and grab my level 2 bard here.
No, Rabbit, I did not know.
Are you
AltSpaceVR. They're the creators of this.
what race are you, Bruce?
Hold on, I'm half elf, level 2 bard. Pair your faces for some epic tunes.
I am gonna write
So
everybody's.
I'm
gonna write down everybody's names and their characters' names. So Bruce, you're gonna be playing a bard.
I will be.
What's your bard's name gonna be?
You can call me. Let's see what it would be. Let's see.
Putting you on the spot.
Exactly, on the spot, dude. Call me a Sharif.
Sharif, alright.
Sharif.
Alright.
Yeah, what?
That's also your name.
Is that everyone? What? No! Sharif the Bard. I am I.
Jeff?
I am Typhus, the Tiefling Warlock.
Okay, Kevin. Gotcha.
That's me, Kevin.
You're the You're who? The
Typhus,
Tiefling.
the Tiefling Warlock.
Okay, Typhus. Tiefling Warlock.
Typhus.
And what race are you playing, Bruce, again?
Tiefling.
Mm.
What
I'm a half elf.
Okay. Ooh, the evil half elf.
Oh yes.
Yes. Ignore the Tiefling. We've got a half elf here.
Jeff,
Tiefling.
Jeff, what are you playing?
Tiefling.
I am playing Davison Dumberbotch, the let's see, halfling rogue.
Okay. Nice.
I wanted to be a gnome, but then you guys don't have gnomes on this character list, so I'm a halfling.
Yeah, those are the pre-prepped sheets from Wizards, but we'll see about getting some other stuff in there at some point.
That'd be awesome.
Reverend, what are you going to be playing?
Well, I think it's fitting. I'm going to be a dwarf cleric.
All right.
And my name is Bert with a U.
All right, Bert. I like it. I like it. And what about you, Steve?
Half elf cleric.
My name is Ray, and I am a gelatinous. Wait, no. I am a human trader.
All right.
Must be a very smart gelatinous cube.
Yes.
Or maybe he's the human that's stuck inside of the gelatinous cube, and they kind of come as a combo pack, you know.
I'm a haunted
Is that armor?
gelatinous cube.
Can I buy that?
What are you doing, Bruce? His head was
What's
way.
that? What?
Your head was way back,
I'm
kind
just-
of.
I'm just like, what? Okay. I'm just checking on the position of my snacks. That's when I flip my headset up a little bit and like, where are my snacks at?
Ah, all
There
right.
they are. Yeah, there we go. Now the VR headset's back on. Now we're ready. Now we're all ready to go.
All right.
Okay.
So we'll get the miniatures and stuff a little bit later. So we'll all kind of
Nice.
we'll kind of all go over and hang out over by the fire spot. So the one thing that I would maybe we could get an anchor over by the fireplace for the GM too. That would be a pretty cool place to have an anchor that we could have our information available to us over there too. So that would be
That's a
pretty
good point.
nice. Maybe
Yeah, that's a good suggestion.
maybe one by the
Alternatively,
bar.
You can also use your personal displays if you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put
If
everything
I've seen
inside of I put everything inside AltSpace. So I wanted to try to have everything here, you know, all of the monsters and all of the lore. So I I want to see how I can do
If
it
you open
all.
up your web browser in the action bar, you'll have that panel on the right side as
Yeah,
well.
right on.
That same panel. So just
I'll-
it's available.
I'll tell you guys
alright.
a little lore about the world that I've created, and this is something that I've been working on for about the last 20, off and on for about 20 years. I have these black and white ledger books that I've been writing in since I was a little kid in fourth grade in 1984. When I first started playing D&D, I started writing down what I would like to do in a game, or maybe what some cool thing that my friend had done, and then it just kind of evolved from like sort of like a log or a diary into like starting to create names and all kinds of like magic items and stuff. So it kind of evolved into probably about 2,000 to 2,500 pages of just organized chaos. Well, it's really not organized, but just we'll call it organized chaos. But I have all kinds of cities that I've created, and today I'm going to show you just one little small place that I've created, and we're going to be playing in a small place called the Moonhorn Sanctuary. And the Moonhorn Sanctuary is like a very small little slough that is sort of like cut into a mountain range. And the mountain range is called the Gasper Mountain Range. And the Gasper Mountain Range basically covers the whole north of the territory. And this little slough, this little pocket, is cut into the mountain range to where it gives it a very nice, stable area of, safe from bad weather, well, safe from like heavy storms, a great defensive position, unless, creatures get into the mountains and start using that as terrain advantage. But it's a beautiful place. It's it's in a sort of like a where the mountains transition into rolling hills, and where you guys are at is called the Moonhorn Sanctuary, and it's always been a very I want to say discreet location where a lot of people have never been there, and it's been home of a druid clan, and these druids have been here for hundreds of years as what the Moonhorn Sanctuary is what these new intruders that are intruding into this small little nook, or this small little cut within the Gasper Mountain Range. And about a year ago, in the mountains, there was a halfling mining expedition, and it was led by a patent iron pick. And this patent iron pick, he was having a lot of bad times. There's a lot of mining companies out there, and he was needing a great source of ore. And in these Gasper Mountains, he found that there were actually large deposits of both copper and silver. So he basically pulled all of his resources together, got a couple investors. So about a year ago is when they made this discovery. So now within the last year, they've made it back out to the Gasper Mountain Range. They've started a very, very, very basic town, and that's pretty much what you guys know of it. Now I need one volunteer. I need one volunteer to have an uncle that is actually at the sanctuary. So does anybody want to have an uncle at the sanctuary?
Well, sure. That sounds like something that's right up my alley.
All right. Well, I appreciate that, Reverend. So we'll say that
As an uncle, nephew.
yeah, well, Bart, your uncle, he is actually what has happened is, over this last year, these miners are now starting to trickle into the sanctuary. And like I said, there have only been druids here. Now, when these miners are starting to come in, they're needing to, they need to put together some type of small village, small town. So now they've started to hire lumberjacks, and that's when, your uncle Bart, he is actually pretty much, he's the leader of this. And his name is Brock Yawning. And your uncle has, given you the opportunity to kind of, he's known ever since that you were just a young lad that you've wanted to always be an adventurer. And now that, your uncle, he's had the opportunity to basically oversee the construction of this new mining town, he's asked you to be a part of it. And he's also told you to bring along as many friends as you'd like to. Because, your uncle, stories with your father and your mother, they've all talked about, how you go off for weeks or months at a time with your other friends, and you guys have this group that always goes together and gets into all kinds of trouble. This mischievous group. So you've told your uncle about this, and your uncle has invited you to the sanctuary. So that's where you guys are off to. So do you guys have any questions so far about the sanctuary? Jeff?
Oh, I was just saying to Bart, pick me. I'd like to come.
Oh yeah. Everybody can go. That's for
Go back to
sure.
my character sheet.
Are we all friends?
Is it Bert or Bart?
Yeah. Everybody is.
Well, it's I'm actually my official name is Bartholomew, which is where the Bart comes from.
Bart for
But
short.
nice. but yeah, you can call me Bart. It's a joke among my family that an aunt called me Bert once. So Bert or Bart, either way is fine. As long as Uncle Brock pronounces it correctly, I'm good with that. Because he and I are tight.
So Uncle Bart. Yeah.
I have a
Right.
question.
Right.
Sure.
As a tiefling, do I need to be worried about how the general population of where we're going is going to be treating me or
In my world,
reacting to my presence?
diversity is good. The world is a melting pot of races. In my world, there are many, many more races than just in D&D 5th edition. So I don't call the tieflings, but everyone is accepted. And in fact, the elves in a way are probably a little bit more segregated because of the way that the elves have always been towards everyone else. So because they're always the superior of all of the different humanoid races. So there's a little bit of, I don't want to say there's no animosity there, but it's just a case of, we the elves are better than you. So, but that's about as tense as it gets between all the different humanoid races. I mean, in my setting, you can even be like a full-blown orc. You can be a kobold. You can be a bugbear if you choose. So there's races for just about everything. Now, I will say this: depending on where you're at, some of the races, like maybe the goblinoids or the full blood orcs, there may be some tension there, but not in this area. Not in this area at all. So, you guys look so good standing around the table. It reminds me of back many years ago. So cool. So cool. All right, so I'm going to show you guys a
Strong.
yes, it is. I'm going to show you guys a map of the sanctuary. Wow. I like it. So this is the sanctuary here. Now, as you guys start to stroll into the sanctuary, you notice that it is just as your uncle explained it. It is basically under construction. Now, as you guys come in, you're going to notice that there's a lot of tents that are basically surrounding the entire sanctuary. And as you guys, as you guys come into the sanctuary, I mean, it is beautiful. I mean, the sun is shining through the trees. You can hear the birds chirping. You can see squirrels jumping from tree to tree. You can see all kinds of animals that you've encountered on your way here, and I mean it's just beautiful. The mountains are all around you. I mean, you can look all around you and just see a massive wall of mountains, and it's just a beautiful sight. So in this little nook, in this little sanctuary, there's actually quite a few people. There's probably about 25, 30 tents, and these are where you can see as you're kind of, it's a little bit later in the evening. It's early dusk, so you're seeing a lot of camps. You're seeing a lot of fires starting to be stoked and fired. You can start to see that they're starting to cook dinner. You can tell that there's lumberjacks because you can also see some of the trees that have been cut down. A lot of makeshift saws with floor pedals and hand pedals, and you can actually still see some of the lumberjacks working and cutting wood. Yeah, you can also see miners. You can see miners coming from the actual wall of the mountain peak itself, from the base of the mountains. So you can see that there's a lot of lumberjacks and a lot of miners here trying to get the town going. Now, for actually built establishments, there's quite a few being built. There's 4 of them to be exact, and I don't have them on the map, but basically right here, where you see this right here where I'm at now, this is the inn, and there is a huge sign that is right outside, and it's called the Middle of Nowhere Inn. Well, it's the Middle of Nowhere Tavern. I apologize, and it basically exactly it is in the middle of nowhere, and this is your uncle's tavern. You didn't know that he named it the Middle of Nowhere Tavern, but you're kind of surprised at the name. But you know that this is your uncle's establishment.
Oh, that's just the way he rolls.
Yeah, and he was one of the first to settle here, and your uncle did own a boating company at one time, very successful, but he had this opportunity, to grow the sanctuary. So he basically sold everything he had, consolidated everything, and now he's put all of his eggs into one basket, which can be pretty dangerous, especially in times like these. I mean, there has been some pretty volatile times in the last 40 to 50 years with a lot of invasions of undead, demons, and devils. So, but a lot of the times when that happens, you've heard a story that not only do the humanoids band together, but the other races do as well, as like the goblinoids, the orcs. So everyone bands together, to get rid of these undead forces, the devils, the demons. So, but yeah, you know that. Yeah, exactly. So your uncle's here at the tavern in the middle of nowhere. You can also see as you guys are coming through, there's no roads. Right. There's absolutely no roads at all. No dirt paths, no kids playing, nothing like what you would see in a small town or a small village. This is all basically just starting from the ground up. Mostly campsites, a lot of people starting to roast. You can see rabbits roasting over the fire. They're turning them on their the makeshift rotisseries. You can see people standing back playing instruments. You can also see people singing and having a good time. It's basically rest and relaxation time. Now the main thing that you see that doesn't look like part of the sanctuary itself is a sort of like a ring of stones. And it's sitting on top of a hill that's kind of elevated up to about the height to where the inn and the tavern in the middle of nowhere. It is right now. It is a one-story tavern. but there are several other floors being added onto this tavern. You can definitely tell. There's also, like I said, 4 other buildings. And, this place isn't that big. So you guys can look around. And the other places, there's 2 large living quarters. One has the symbols of the loggers, of the lumberjacks, and the other has the symbol of crossed mining picks. So you can tell that they're building housing, and so they just want to basically get rid of the tents. Now there's a couple establishments also that are being built, and they're not done at all. So there is a large tent that is over in this region here in the corner, and it is about the size of 10 of these normal tents. And this is basically the mining company that is here right now. And like I told you, the mining company is owned by Patton Ironpick, and he's the halfling that actually discovered all of this ore that was in the mountains. So this is his makeshift tent till he can get his building. That is actually the foundation is being laid and stuff. So as our adventure continues, and as we play more and more episodes, you're going to see the town is actually growing. So there will be more and more establishments being added in with each session. Of course, there may be a little bit of downtime in between each session, maybe a month, maybe 2 months, but you'll be out doing other things. Maybe you would be escorting a caravan back for say your uncle, or maybe doing some work for the mining company or the logging company. So it's a world that's going to just keep getting bigger and bigger, especially here in the sanctuary. So which is something that I wanted to give a try. Instead of just saying, bam, here's 30 locations, I want to see it grow over time as the story evolves. So I think that'll be pretty cool. So, like I said, the Iron Pick Mining Company, they've got an establishment being built. The Middle of Nowhere Tavern, that's like I said, that's really the main focal point of the town so far. And you can actually go inside, have a beer. Your uncle's already told you all about it. There is also it's called Geesley's Emporium, and Geesley's Emporium is basically like a Lowe's. It has all of the basic equipment. They sell a lot of the lumber there, because there's big plans for the sanctuary, and your uncle will get a little bit more into it. But this emporium is going to be basically selling a lot of the ore, the more rare minerals like the basalts, the charcoals and stuff, because there's a lot of other things that are being mined as well, just besides copper and silver. So and then like I said, there's the 2 housing establishments for the loggers and for the miners. So do you guys have any questions about the sanctuary so far? And the last thing that I touched on was this. It looks like Stonehenge, and there's about almost a dozen stones that sit on top of this hill. And in the middle, you can see that there are a couple masoners that look like they're kind of maybe making something or fixing something. But that's everything that you see here so far in the sanctuary. I mean, you guys go ahead and...
I have a question.
Sure, absolutely.
Do we know, or can you tell us who's bankrolling this whole expedition, basically?
Yeah, that's a good question. The uncle, which is Bart's uncle, he is the one that is in charge of all of this. Now,
Right. You said he was...
Yeah, he's overseeing everything. Now, he's not putting up everything. Right. Of course, he built his tavern with his money, but there are a lot of other investors that have invested heavily into the sanctuary. But as for names,
Uncle
as
Brock
for
is
awards,
is an entrepreneur.
yeah, and that's a great thing to say, because that's exactly why they've asked him to do this is because of his skills with management and organization. They want him here for this. That is exactly why he's been brought here.
Well, I just have to make the comment that the way that this whole campsite thing is set up, this looks very intense. Get it? Intense.
Are we gonna
Waka,
start with
waka,
that?
waka.
Really gonna start with that?
Hey, that's just the kind of humor that,
Well.
that Uncle Brock appreciates. That's why he's called me in.
I just think it's weird. Your name is Nowhere. I mean, that's why the tavern is named. Right?
See, you got to have a sense of humor about this sort of thing, Keeps you sane out here in the wild.
Guys,
And
you know
your
the
aunt's here as
name of
well.
this place?
What's that?
Yeah. What's
We should build a toll road and make all the money.
You could just put
I
a.
Remember that?
don't think there's enough people coming up here yet to
We'll just
warrant that.
we'll just move these.
Rates
We'll
first.
just kind of move these around, and we'll just slap a road in between everything. So your aunt is here. Your aunt is here also, Bart.
Uh-oh.
Your Aunt Clara. Even though your uncle is about 20 years older than his new wife, seems like they got along. They got married about a year ago, and they had a grand wedding, big feast. Seems like they get along pretty good. But yeah, he's got about 20
Yeah.
years on Clara. They have no children.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anybody have sense evil?
I don't like her. I think she's a money grubbing wench. That's just
What's
my take on
her
it.
What's her charisma score, if you know what I mean?
Her charisma score is, let's see. 11. It's average. So, and plus
Oh, thank
she
God.
she's a half elf, so she's got about a 13. So she's a little cuter than average. Yeah, we'll say charisma and calmness are the same thing. So
I don't sense anything wrong here. It seems fun.
but a lot of people in your family, though, Bart, they have said that she is in it for the money, and they've told your uncle to always smell the wine before he drinks it, or the ale, because he's a big ale drinker, big ale connoisseur.
Hey Bart, I'm a
Yeah.
rogue. I'm sure you knew that, but I could probably, maybe pickpocket her, and we could give some of that money back to, to your uncle somehow.
I don't have an ale problem because I'm a connoisseur.
Well, I just like to keep her, at a safe distance. I don't know if we have to go so far as to, go full Monty on her, but I think I'm just going to be overly cautious around her.
Is she the only woman in this encampment?
There are a few, but not many. There's a few female halfling miners and a few dwarven miners. Of course, the female dwarves have beards, so yeah, there's a couple females, but probably not to the likes of Clara. Not like your aunt, though. Oh wow. There we
Is
go.
that wearing on the workers?
I don't know. You could probably check with them. I'm sure that they.
Well, we should go.
Uh,
We should go say hi to your uncle, I would guess.
Yeah.
Now that
Yeah.
we're here.
As
Absolutely.
soon as we finish that toll road.
The toll road's going up first. Nice.
It's a lifetime.
You finish that toll road, and then we'll be right back.
I'll save you a beer.
There are plans for it. All right, so you guys head into the tavern in the middle of nowhere. Great name, isn't it? But I mean, virtually it is. So you see your uncle on there. You see your aunt. They're behind the. There's a couple patrons in here. Not a whole lot. It's not like the tavern is just busting at the seams and there's servers everywhere. This is actually pretty slow. But like I said, your uncle has big intentions, and he sees you come through the door with your friends, and he